And beginning our tour of this fine ship, we start on the bow over here, where you can see the bell as well as a lot of the anchor chains. You see, since the New Westminster is so old, a lot of the crew equipment has to be operated manually, including the anchors, so they have to have someone down here when the ship is getting ready to dock. But we continue over here across the front of the ship. You can see right next to us on the left is a large seating area, which is very popular considering that it has a very good view of the front. Well, the best view you can get of the front on the ship, really, unless you're standing outside. Anyways, continuing along the side, this ship is a bit unique because, unlike a lot of BC ferries, almost the entire outside of the ship is covered in a promenade, which means that yes, you'll have to stand outside in the cold northwestern air if you want to get a lot of good views of the sea, but it's also very nice if you want to take a walk around the deck. Anyways, continuing out here, you can see some of the life rafts and a door that also leads into the side of the ship. Going inside, you can see one of the many staircases that goes up from the car deck, and a hallway that leads into that front area I was talking about, with bathrooms flanking each side. Going past here, this large seating area has both backwards and frontwards facing seats. It's a very large area, and there's a lot of people that gather here, as I've mentioned. Ending with this view facing the back of the ship, we continue on our tour. You can see that these big seating areas are mainly used for wheelchair people, which is a pretty good design. Moving further down, you can see some vending machines and a sign to the cafeteria, which, this is the way I'm gonna go. Anyways, there's a medical area and some more bathrooms. Continuing down the hallway on the ship's starboard side, you can see a little kids' play area, which is one of the smallest, as well as a little corridor that sells little pamphlets. Then, the Passages gift shop, which I might warn you, does not have a lot of BC Ferries merch. This is because they don't want people to get confused with crew members, which have all the BC Ferries logos on them. They do have some kinda cool Lego sets, models, and toys though, if you're into that, which I am. Moving down this hallway, you can see the name of the ship plastered aboard a staircase. Pretty cool addition, if I'm gonna be honest. Then there's another washroom, which is the largest men's washroom on the ship, and some ads on the side. Moving over here, we have an area that's not officially part of the cafeteria, but has a lot of chairs in the style of a cafeteria, as well as a little deck plan over here. This is also the largest area of the ship, the closest thing to a grand atrium, where you can see the chief steward, and some more of that seating area, with doors leading to the outside. Going over here, we have the Coastal Cafe, which is essentially just White Spot. Inside the Coastal Cafe, you can see a lot of stuff, and there's actually quite a wide selection of almost anything that White Spot has to offer. Heading back out to the big area, you can see that there is a washroom and stairs that lead up to the upper floor, which we will explore shortly, as well as an elevator. BC Ferries actually seems to be pretty good at providing elevators for wheelchair people. Anyways, up here you got another seating area, which throughout the ship they have seating areas sprinkled everywhere, as well as another men's washroom and women's washroom on the other side. Out here you can also get a great view of the harbor as well as a coastal class ship. Moving backwards on the ship, you can see what's called a Coastal Cafe Express. Due to understaffing, it wasn't opened, but the seating area is still opened. It's one of the biggest seating areas in the ship, far outpacing the size of the front area. And over here is mainly where you sit after you get Coastal Cafe Express, with some chairs and tables with really weird looking seats, and also an area to heat up your own food. Moving forwards, we are now on the port side of the ship. It has a lot of the same stuff, however, of course there's a women's washroom instead of a men's washroom, some areas selling pamphlets, which I kinda should have taken, and a staircase which leads down. Over here, you've got quite an interesting feature of BC Ferries. This is what's called the workstation. Here, you've got little stalls with chargers and the perfect areas to either set up your gaming setup if you're not that keen on checking out the ferry, and besides that, they also have another seating area past these chairs. If you go over here as well, you have the Sea West Lounge, which is an area that is paid for, but it's essentially a more luxurious version of the normal lounges. Looking into the Sea West Lounge, you can see it's kind of like first class on the first ferries back in Hong Kong. Moving to the forward part of the ship, this is the closest you can normally get to the bridge unless you are invited aboard, as well as a ton of like certificates and stuff, but no one really cares about that. There's also supposed to be plaques on the ship, but I couldn't seem to find those. Anyways, going outside here, we have some nice seating areas, as well as areas that normally would store lifeboats but people are sitting on, and you can see the crew setting up the rib. And as well as that, you have a nice view of what is the Spirit of Vancouver Island on this trip. However, in my opinion, this ship is a bit overrated. Over here as well, you have a sea dog that's trying to jump on board one of the lifeboat crates. Who wouldn't? Now we head back down to where we were before, with the actually same person standing there. I mean, it's a nice view. And you have another view of the Spirit of Vancouver Island. As we move forward down the promenade, you see some other stairs and doors, as well as some very uncomfortable looking benches. Here as well, you have an open area where there is no deck on top, and it's actually a very nice place to sit on one of the life raft areas, and just get a great view of the area around you. Here we reach the end of the promenade, which is cut off at the Coastal Cafe, and we head back up to the end of the ship. You can see some more of those benches things, and if we look towards the back of the ship, you can see an area that goes all the way to the stern to get some great views of what's behind you. There is actually a way to get fully to the very back of the ship, however, I was not able to do that this time, unfortunately. And with a nice view of Tawasin, that ends our tour of the Queen of New Westminster. We then went back to White Spot, and I had a pretty good burger, which is plain, but that's how I like it. And one of my friends, who was the person you saw touring me throughout the ship, had an Nanaimo bar, very fittingly. Eventually, they warned us that there are orcas on the side, so we went back and tried to find them. We then got some great views of the world's largest double-ended ferry, the Coastal Celebration. I also wanted to mention, if you want to go from the front to the back, there's this little nook that a lot of people might miss when going through, so look out for that. And with that, let's get into some history. The New Westminster did not originally look like this. It was built in 1964, and, over the years, had many renovations. Over the years, she was renovated in 1973, 1991, and 2007. She also has had her fair share of incidents, like for example, when she was departing while vehicle loading was still in process, so a car fell into the water but 2 people in there were rescued. Another incident occurred when a van fell from the top deck of the ship down to the bottom, then eventually fell into the water, killing all 6 people on board. And we end over here on the front of the ship, which is a very nice view and you can definitely see how old it is. But anyways, that was my tour of the Spirit of New Westminster. I really hope you enjoyed, and hope that you can one day see this amazing feat of engineering and nautical design, and so again.